All right. Hi, everyone. So sorry for the delay here at office hours. We're having some technical issues on YouTube. We severely apologize for that. But hopefully we're good to go now. I'm hopping in the chat. Everybody see me? Everybody hear me okay? Let me know, and then we can get started. And I'll hang on for a few extra minutes today because of these technical issues here. All right. So I'll just, let's see in the chat if we're good to go. Let's see. Anybody, can you hear me, see me okay? Things good to go? We might have a delay, I guess. Just want to make sure that we are all set to move forward here. All right, okay. Awesome. You can hear me, see me. Great. Awesome. Yay. Woo. Great. Okay. Fourth time's the charm. Well, thank you so much for joining me today and for bearing with us through this whole delay. Again, I will stick on for a little bit longer today to make sure we get your questions answered. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ariella Coombs. I'm one of the career coaches here at Work Daily. And we do these office hour sessions every week, Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. So if you're interested in the program or you just have a question you really need answered by one of our coaches, definitely put this in your calendar. Weekly, we do this so you can come and get your questions answered. One thing I will tell you, if you're new, it does get a little crazy in the chat. So we try our best to get to as many questions as possible, but it's not always guaranteed. So to increase your chances, make sure that you put question in all caps and then put in your question. It just makes it easier for us to find that question for you and answer it. But the other thing is, if you really want to get your question guaranteed answered, you should definitely check out our program over at Work It Daily. We have a couple of different levels, and I'm really excited to share with you guys today that we're doing a brand new level over on Facebook. We actually have a private Facebook group that is, it's part of a new beta program at Facebook, and we're one of the few organizations that get to try this, and it's really exciting for us and for you because it allows us to have a ton of great content, resources, coaching, and community at a really affordable rate on Facebook. It's all private. If you join the group, it's actually only $4.99 a month. And we actually have a really cool 7-day free trial that you should definitely check out just to see what we're all about, just to see what's going on in there and what kinds of resources you can get and what kinds of things that you can get in there. So you'll actually get live videos with JT, our head coach here, as well as other coaches here, member-only videos, job search and career advice, downloadable PDFs, courses, tutorials, all this great stuff, all in this community for only $4.99 a month. But you should definitely check it out. Check out that 7-day free trial just to see what it's about, because it's a really cool, and you get so much, for only, a few bucks a month, right? So definitely check it out. And a lot's going on in there. So I'm sure we'll put more information in that chat for you so you can see that and go and check it out. Awesome. Okay, so I'm just gonna make sure that everything is good here. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of people on. Great, awesome, welcome everybody. Great, so for those of you who know me, you know that I kind of start off with a topic to kick things off, and then I'll jump into your questions. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about something that I've been working with a lot of clients on inside Work It Daily, which is, what are those little things that you can be doing to really stand out in the hiring process? Right. And it's really, little things that do help you stand out. So the first thing that you need to do, and this is, seemingly obvious, but a lot of people kind of overlook it, is to make a great first impression. Okay. So not only making sure that your materials, your resume, cover letter, LinkedIn profile are looking good, use good grammar, formatting, content, all that great stuff. Make sure that is really on point. You're making a great first impression. It's great branding, and you're really presenting yourself in the most marketable way as possible. Dress up for interviews. Make sure that you know what that company, what that attire is for that company, and dress a level above that, because it really shows that you're being, respectful of that company, but you still get them. You understand, you're going into a casual company and you're not going to wear a 3-piece suit. Believe me, my first internship was at a farm, a PR internship at a farm, and I went in with a full pinstripe suit, and I definitely got laughed at in that interview, but it still managed to get it. But you definitely want to be taking that into consideration, because it does impact your first impression, okay? So, make sure that you're wearing the right outfits for those interviews. Build rapport with the people that you meet during the interview process, the hiring process, because it really does help you stand out. If you can connect with the people you're working with, you're going to increase your chances of standing out and moving forward, because if people like you, they're going to want to bring you in. Okay. And of course, make sure that your online presence is looking good. So go and Google yourself. You'll be surprised at what you'll find, actually. And just make sure that you are presenting your best self online. And if you need to do a little cleanup and really focus on your LinkedIn profile, clean up your social media, see what else is out there about you, to see what you can kind of clean up and make sure that you're making a good first impression, because people do Google you. This is the day and age of Googling and searching, and that's such a quick way to kind of do some research on someone. So you want to know what's out there about you, so you can, clean it up, make sure that your brand is looking good so you can make that first impression, okay? Okay, something else that people don't necessarily think of when they're in the middle of the job search process or just starting the job search process is when there's an opportunity and you see this great opportunity, but you don't have your materials ready yet. So you don't have your resume ready or your cover letter or anything else. And you let it sit there until things are perfect. Let it sit for a few days until it's perfect. That's not going to help you stand out. In fact, it's going to decrease your chances of getting that interview at all. Because if you keep employers waiting, they're going to find somebody else. Okay, so a lot of organizations, it's competitive. So you want to make sure that you're, move it or lose it, I guess, in this hiring process, because you don't want to make them wait, especially when they're flooded with applications. So make sure you have your materials ready to go, have a base kind of resume and cover letter to work off of, but then customize it as needed. So it only takes you a few minutes as opposed to taking a few days to really customize this. That can really cut down in that process, because when they need something, you want to give it to them. Okay, so that's your materials. Also, think about interviews. Try not to reschedule interviews if possible, because you want to make sure that you're getting in front of them when they want to see you. Right? So that's really going to help you stand out if you're on top of things, you're getting them what they need quickly, and you're, going with their schedule, you're going to the interviews on time. It's great. So get them what they need ASAP. Otherwise, someone else is going to come along and take your spot. Okay. So, don't wait a few days. And I know a lot of people are probably like, well, how am I going to customize my resume and my cover letter only a few minutes or a few hours to make sure that I get this opportunity? Well, if you join us over in our program or in our Facebook group, we'll tell you exactly what you should be doing so you can make it easy for yourself, and you can really streamline that process while making it customized and getting it out the door quickly. Okay. So important in the hiring process in terms of standing out. Okay. So another thing you want to be thinking about is treating each company as if it's the only one you're talking to right now. Make them feel special, okay? Really get to know them. Do your research. Ask good questions. Think about what they're doing, what their mission is, their values, their beliefs, why people like working there. Really bring up specific things about that organization that excite you. So that way they feel special, they feel wanted, and they feel like you want to be there and you want to be a part of their organization. So, a lot of people send out, generic cover letters, generic resumes. They'll have a lot of generic questions. And that doesn't really help you because you're not speaking directly to that organization that you're trying to land an opportunity at, right? So if you're having a conversation with me and you're asking me, generic questions or small talk, I'm probably not going to remember you as much as somebody who's like, well, I noticed that you went to, this university and you were active in this. How was that? What did that, do for you? And why did you pursue those types of things? I'm going to remember that person way more because they took the time to get to know me, right? And ask really specific questions. And that shows that you're excited about the opportunity. It shows that you did your homework and you make that organization feel special. Okay. That's really going to help you. And that really comes into play in the cover letter. So definitely keep that in mind. Obviously, don't make it all about you. This is the employer, like, also making this decision. So again, do that homework, ask great questions, follow-up questions, make those interviews conversations. When you have an easy conversation with somebody, again, it makes you way more memorable than if you just come in and you're just getting questions, kind of thrown at you, and you're not really participating on your end, right? That's not really going to help you stand out. So make sure that you are also engaging with that organization. Obviously, make it easy for them to see your value. Again, it's all about that resume, that cover letter, the networking that you're doing that will allow you to kind of showcase what value you're going to bring, what service you're going to provide that organization, and why it's going to save or make them money. If you can't articulate that, and if you can't brand yourself for that, it's going to make it really hard for them to see why they should bring you in. So make sure that you're really focusing on that. It's really going to help you. Of course, show that enthusiasm, follow up, be timely, smile, ask those questions about those projects that you're interested in, or those initiatives, or whatever else that excites you about this organization. If you can show that, if you could smile, if you can be engaged in those conversations, again, you're going to be so much more memorable, and it's going to help you so much more in that hiring process in terms of standing out. At the same time, you don't want to come on too strong, so make sure that you have a good balance there. And then finally, make sure that you're asking to move forward. Okay, if you're not bringing up next steps and you're not keeping that conversation going, you're leaving it up to them to say, should we bring this person in? Should we move forward? No, if you can, ask them what those next steps are, if you can follow up, you send their thank you notes, you're going to stand out so much more than people who don't. In fact, one thing that we really care about at Work It Daily when we hire is thank you notes, because it really shows that you appreciate the time, you really are excited about this opportunity, and you're interested in moving forward. Okay, so take those things into consideration if you're in a job search, you're trying to find a way to stand out in the hiring process, and this, it's competitive. So take these things into consideration as you move forward, and definitely check out that 7-day free trial in the Facebook group, because we have so many resources that will help you with this. Okay, awesome. All right, so I know that was a ton of information. So if you have any questions about that, please let me know. Right now, I'm going to get into questions. What do we got here? Let's see. Okay. Question: why do companies post a position, fill a position, and then repost the same position a few months later with the same qualifications? Great question. So a couple things could be happening here. They could need another person to do the same type of role. Maybe that other person, the role was just too in depth and they needed somebody else to split it with, or that person didn't end up working out. They weren't a fit for that organization and they need somebody else. So this is another reason why it's so important to keep that conversation going with an employer, even if you didn't get the job, right? So if they say, thanks, but no thanks, not today, you really need to, send them an email and say, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me, get to know me. I really still love this organization and I'd love to, find myself working there one day. How can I stay on your radar screen for future opportunities? If you send something like that and show them that you're still interested, if that person for this role didn't work out, they might come back to you and say, hey, we've already interviewed you. We already like you. You were in the running. Maybe it's your turn to get a shot here. So really important that you do that. So that could be what is happening. They didn't work out, or they, the position might have gotten changed or something like that. Okay. What else do we have here? Question: what can I do if my title is very specific and I'm capable of doing other things? For example, I'm a technical writer, but I'm experienced with Adobe Acrobat Professional and InDesign. Gotcha. So great question. So you really need to be thinking about what is the type of role that you want to be pursuing, and does it involve those tools, that expertise, or how can you leverage that expertise, bring it to your role as unique value add. But it's really about thinking about, okay, what type of role am I looking for? What kind of projects am I looking to work on? What kinds of tasks? What kinds of skills do I want to leverage? And then really tailor your resume, your materials to that type of role. So if you are a technical writer and you want to be taking an inventory of what are your top skill sets, what are the skill sets you want to be leveraging, and what can you like what types of tools or other expertise or skill sets could bring additional value, and how. You need to kind of spell it out to them and say, this is going to help you, or this is going to help me in this role because of this, or this is my unique value add, and I want to pull this in and say, take this role and bring it to the next level. But it's really important, even if you have this expertise, this knowledge, if it really doesn't apply to that role, then you probably want to push that further down on your resume, because yes, it's great, but you want to make sure that you're really tailoring and customizing your resume, your skills, your brand, essentially, for that type of role that you're applying to. So if you're going for a technical writer role, and that's the kind of role that you want to be pursuing, you want to look at that job description and scan it for those job specific hard skills, and say, okay, what do I have? What can I be promoting on my resume? How can I make myself, how can I market myself as effectively as possible for this position? Okay. And if that other expertise or those, skills don't really apply, you either want to leave them off or move them down. Okay. So it's really about, what is that role that you want to be pursuing? And if you really want to leverage those other skills, maybe you want to think about, okay, is it time for me to make a transition out of this role and move into a different role that I can leverage these other skill sets? Okay. But again, it's all about, customizing. Yes, you can have all this great experience, but if you're trying to include everything on your resume to show you have this great expertise, these skills, and they're not super relevant to the roles that you want to go for, it's just going to water your resume down, and it's going to make you look less valuable, if that makes sense, right? So you want to make sure that you're really focusing on those key, most relevant skill sets and accomplishments, and that expertise that apply to that specific role. Okay. Hope that helps. All right. What else do we have here? Question: what if I start a job and get a better offer soon thereafter? How do I say to this current employer so as to not appear as if I wasted their time hiring me? Great question. So we actually get this question a lot. So yes, maybe you had multiple offers, or you had offers that you were waiting on, and you started a job to be safe, but then you got the dream offer, right? What do? You've already committed to this role, but you've got the dream offer over here. Unfortunately, you're probably going to burn a bridge for this current employer, because you did go through the process, you did commit to it, and you started the opportunity. So if you leave now, you probably will burn the bridge. You can just explain, that you were really excited about this opportunity, and you think this company is great, and you love what they're doing, everything that you had been saying during this hiring process, but just explain, this, in the end, I don't think it's the right opportunity for me, and I'm so sorry, but thank you so much for the time. I'd be happy to help you find my replacement, but I'm going to have to move in a new direction. And obviously that's never an easy conversation to have, but if you really feel like this is the opportunity, then you're going to want to have it. With that said, you're going to have to think about, is it worth burning this bridge? Can this opportunity, this other opportunity come down the line, or is this a once in a lifetime opportunity? Because that's a really, if you think about it from the employer's point of view, that's going to be really tough to, let go a new employee that you just hired and you spent all this time. So, you really want to consider this. Is this the dream job, and is it worth doing that? Okay. We also have some great resources in terms of how to, kind of frame this. You can work with our coaches inside to really lock down that language in terms of dealing with this. So yes, good luck. All right. Question: thank you note. Is email okay? What if a hiring manager did not give an email address? Is it appropriate to pass it along through HR recruiter that set up the interview? Yes. So email thank you notes are great because they're quick. And all you need to do is essentially say, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciated it. And I love learning about your company. Looking forward to learning more and moving forward in this process. If you don't have the email address, absolutely work through your contact and say, if would it be possible for me to get these email addresses so I can send personal thank you notes? If not, please pass along my thank you to these people. I really appreciated their time. You should always, always, always send a thank you note. Yes, yes. Great questions. All right. Question, are temp agencies a way to get started in a new direction for a career choice? Yes, temp agencies can definitely help you kind of it can be an interim step, right? So you can use that as a way to gain or hone skills that will allow you to get your foot in the door. You can, meet new companies. You can, have an income while you're trying to figure out what your next step is. So yes, if you're looking to make a career move, working through a temp agency, figuring out roles that will allow you to, again, hone or gain skill sets, again, get a foot in the door at certain companies, it really can help you kind of make that move, okay, while still having an income. Great question. Question, got an offer letter via email. Woohoo, congratulations. Do I counter back via email or do I make a phone call? So we recommend making a phone call because if you're going to counter, you really want them to kind of hear the sincerity in your voice. I really appreciate this. I'm so excited for this opportunity, which is why it's really hard for me to kind of bring this up. I looked at the offer letter and, for these reasons, I want to, kind of work on a few things, right? So we have a whole thing, a whole template for this. But yes, you want to make sure that you're doing the phone call because it really can show them that you're taking it seriously. You feel bad that you feel like you have to counter. But you're still excited about this opportunity. You're grateful for the opportunity to get this offer. Email can be, it can be complicated in terms of communication because you can't really tell how people are saying things or what people mean by things because it's just text. So you really want to make that phone call to kind of give them that sense of, sincerity in your voice. Okay, so absolutely. And we have a whole course on salary negotiations inside the program that you should definitely check out as well. All right, question. Is there really a best day to have an interview? Heard towards the end of the week is best. So obviously Mondays can be tough for everybody. We actually recommend that you don't follow up with people. You don't network on Mondays because people are coming off the weekend and they're tired and they're catching up in emails. With that said, interviews, you really essentially want to go when they ask you, right? So if they ask you to come in on a Monday, you go in on a Monday. If they ask you to come in on a Friday, you go on Friday. Right. So again, going back to that topic that we were going over earlier, you don't want to make them wait around. Right. So if they schedule an interview or they have these time slots available, you want to try your best to make that work because it's, you don't want to take the chance of losing out that interview or that opportunity. Okay. So yes, there are better days than others, but in the end, the best day is when they can do it. So great question. All right. Question, how do I negotiate a fair salary after doing my research? I'm afraid of pricing myself out of an opportunity. Great question. So yes, so once you do your research on, Glassdoor, payscale.com, salary.com, just to get a sense of the average, like the competitive rate for that role in that industry, if you have a sense of, okay, this is what the average is, this is what I should expect, this range, it depends on where you are in the process. So if you've already gotten the offer and it's below this, you can just explain that, again, I appreciate this offer. I'm so excited to, start being a part of this company and start contributing. However, I was really hoping to make at least this much based on my skills and my experience. And this is what I can bring to the table. And, in order for this to, make it worth it for me to stay and contribute and continue, making an impact here, I'm going to need to make at least this much. So that would, depending on what the offer was that they gave you, you want to think about your walkaway rate, which is the absolute minimum that you're going to accept, and, kind of work with that. But if you're in the beginning of the process and they haven't made the offer yet, you essentially want to look at that range and go somewhere in the middle. Right. So kind of, this is the low end, this is the high end. And if they say, what's your range? You give them the range based on your research. And then if they say, no, what's your number? Like, what's the number? You give them something in the middle. Okay. So that way, you're above your walkaway rate, but you're below the higher rate. So that way you're not pricing yourself out by giving them this high rate, and you're not selling yourself short by giving them your walkaway rate, because of course they're going to say, okay, well, this is what we're going to give you, and it's going to leave very little room for negotiation. So this will be your sweet spot here. Okay, so if they really need a number, this is what you'll do. And then you, of course, can take in other things in consideration, benefits, other perks, work from home, flex time, all that great stuff, vacation time. You want to take that into consideration as well. But yes, if you are worried about, pricing yourself out, look at that range and say, okay, this is the high end, this is the low end. How can I sit in the middle here? And, that way we both win. Okay, so I hope that helps. All right. Question, how can I prepare for those self-interview videos? Oh yeah, so those are becoming more and more popular. It's this video software where essentially you're given these questions and you're supposed to answer them via video. Okay, and it's definitely nerve-wracking if you're not used to being on camera or just talking to your computer screen. So what you're really going to want to do is practice, get comfortable with it. Get comfortable with your answers, with your delivery, looking at the camera instead of the screen, focusing here instead of looking all over the place. It takes practice, believe me, and you want to make sure that you are getting comfortable with it, because the more comfortable you are, the more confident you're going to be, and the more professional you're going to look. And it's going to make it so much easier for you to kind of nail those awkward self-video interviews. Okay, so definitely just get on your webcam, just put out some questions. Get some common interview questions and just start practicing, answering them, okay, as if you're talking to a person, even if it's your computer screen. But that will make it so much easier for you to go in there, really crush those, self-video interviews and make a great impression, okay? Awesome. What else do we have here? Question. When customizing a resume for a specific job, should you include relevant experience if it's early career experience and could open you up to a possible age discrimination? So what we recommend at Work It Daily is to, if you've got experience that's 10, 15 years older, then you essentially want to kind of cut that back, because it's a little less relevant to your more recent experience, right? So you can include it on your resume. Like you can say, I worked here, this is my title, this is the company I worked at, location, and then the years I was employed. But you don't need to, expand on that if you don't feel like, it's a little bit older, it's not necessarily as relevant. You probably if you haven't been using those skill sets since then, they're probably not going to take it as seriously as that more relevant experience. So what you should be thinking about, if you want to, really tailor that resume and get that experience, that relevant experience, where can you upskill? Can you go and take certifications? Can you find volunteer opportunities that will allow you to hone or gain skill sets that will be relevant to these opportunities? Part-time jobs, freelance jobs. What can you be doing to upskill and get relevant experience that's, recent? Okay, because they're going to pay attention to that more than they would to something that's, 15, 20 years ago, right? So you really want to be thinking about that. Okay, so yes, think about where you can upskill. Even things, again, doing, online courses, certifications, that at least shows that you're trying to find ways to, get back into this type of field or this type of work, and you're gaining that expertise, and you're trying to make yourself relevant and your skill sets relevant again. Okay, so I would recommend that. If you really feel like, maybe it's not as old of experience and you feel like you can still pull that experience in, you can list it for sure. But just be aware that it's probably not going to be as relevant to them as that more recent experience. Okay, I have time for one more question. Let's see what else we got here. Okay. Okay, question. Last Tuesday, I had a phone screen with a company recruiter for a senior customer success manager role. the recruiter told me she was going to schedule a Zoom interview, which is a video interview, with a senior director of customer success. She told me she would be in touch in a few days. Have yet to hear back. How long should I wait to ask about the interview? So great question. So you got to keep in mind, we're coming off of a holiday weekend here. People are playing catch up. They're trying to get back in the groove. And, as a job seeker, you feel like time is going so slowly because you're waiting and waiting and waiting for that phone call. You're waiting for that email. You're waiting for any sign of life from that employer to say, hey, bring me in for that interview. However, on the employer side, things are going at lightning speed. They've got other things to do. They've got other people in the pipeline. They want to hire other people. They've got other job responsibilities. So things can quickly kind of, go down the queue, I guess. So you have to keep that in mind. So we recommend following up 1 to 2 weeks out and just say, hey, just wanted to check in to make sure that, there's nothing else I can do to further my candidacy for this role. Super excited to work with you. If there's anything else I can do, please let me know. And just check in, 1 to 2 weeks out. And obviously not on Monday, as we discussed. But yes, I think you just got to keep in mind that we're coming off of a holiday weekend and things could be crazy. So, definitely remember that. But yes, 1 to 2 weeks out, you want to be following up via email. Great. Awesome. Well, great session, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that was a helpful session. Definitely check out that Facebook group, 7-day free trial. Get in there, see what it's about. And of course, definitely put this in your calendar every Wednesday, 1 o'clock. We will be here. Awesome. Well, thanks again and have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.